What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today I'm really excited because we're going to do the full review of the Demko AD20.5. So just to start off, I owned, no longer do, and I regret it, the AD20, the actual American-made in Wampum, Pennsylvania, by the Demkos. So this one is G10 3V steel. It won my 2020 Knife of the Year. This thing is just awesome, and it's mainly due to the shark lock, which is on both of these knives. So I just am a real huge fan of the shark lock. I reluctantly did sell this to make room for other stuff on the channel and in the collection. Sold it to a good buddy of mine, Rusty Knife Lover, who has graciously let me have this back to do a comparison of this knife during the review. And Rusty, I really appreciate it, brother. You are the man. But holy crap, do I miss this knife. But we're here to talk about its little brother. So you guys, if you've been watching the channel, you know I picked this up at Blade Show. Me and Kevin Lefty EDC met at Blade Show, had a blast. And on that first day, we were both very stingy. That first day at Blade Show, wanted to see everything. You know, didn't really want to buy the first thing that came out, but we did know that we had to go to the Demko booth to buy these guys. CJ, whoa, I'm being like Kevin, I'm dropping shit. CJ Miller of Miller Knife Works. You might have seen my full review of his custom kitchen knife that I have that I'm in love with. But anyway, we've become really good friends, talk all the time, and he had asked if I was there at Blade Show and they were available to pick him up one, so I was able to pick him up one, and then Kevin, same way with our buddy Chris, Grady's Gear. So that's exactly what we did, is we went and we bought those. Went around the, and I knew that I kind of wanted this, but I didn't know how it was really going to be, because I had this and had very high expectations. This is a much cheaper knife, not made in America, made in Taiwan, so I was kind of skeptical. But we got through Blade Show. We didn't buy anything that first day, and then we got home and did a video on the things that we bought, and we got to play with these. And me and Kevin both absolutely said to ourselves when we got these out and started playing, we was like, yeah, we got to get one tomorrow. And the Demkos did it right. They brought a lot. A lot of them were numbered for Blade Show. And seriously, Kevin got the last one that was numbered. Mine is not numbered. And I really could give a shit. I don't really care. But I'm glad, you know, I know people like that kind of stuff. So he did have, I think, the first 100 of each blade type there. It comes with this, I call it a clip point blade, and then a shark's foot, which is a sheep's foot style blade. And I just dig this blade shape. I think it looks better as far as aesthetically. And of course it matched the blade shape that I got on this guy when I had it. I'm so sad. I really love the way that it looks. You know, it's not nothing wow crazy, right? It's in the shape of a knife with good ergonomics, and a functional blade shape. But the thing that makes it the best, really, and why I'm really happy that the Demkos did this, is the shark lock. This gives people the ability to experience the shark lock, because it's ingenious, in my opinion. I am a fidgety guy with my knives. I like to be able to fidget with my knives. This is a very fidgety locking mechanism, opening mechanism. It's very fun. But I like certain things, and whenever I sold this, I was like, I just don't carry it that much, even though, just because I was reviewing a ton of different knives, and I was just trying to, anyways, big mistake on my part. I'll probably have another AD20, but holy crap, is this filling the void. They're geniuses for doing this. Now, this is a much cheaper knife than the full AD20 because it is made in Taiwan. It has grivery handles, and I grotesque, really, the grivery. I don't like it, but on this knife, and the way they do the milling pattern, which is the same on the AD20, or close enough, I like it. I really don't mind the grivery, and I never really say that. So I was pleasantly surprised on that front. Then I was like, it's a smaller knife. I'm the big knife guy, right? And I was thinking it was going to be too small. So we are going to flip the camera around and show size comparisons and compare it to this guy. And it is smaller. As you can kind of see, it's a smaller knife. And it's not as good ergonomically for my big hands as the AD20. So in this backed up grip, it almost fits my hand like it was molded for it. Because as you can see with this little hump right here, my big, and I have, you know, larger hands, but they're mainly larger like this way, wide, right? I don't have huge long fingers, but I have a very wide hand. And the grip on the AD20 fits perfectly. As you can see, my whole hand fits within this little area that they have to grip. The AD20.5, just a tad small for me. It's not a problem. I thought it was going to be a problem because my hands don't fit in there. And as you can see, my pinky is basically right on this little point in the regular grip. And so, you know, it's not as ideal as that one, but it is still a very comfortable grip and one that locks you in. Both of these knives have some of my favorite jimping because it goes all the way up here. So it starts back here, goes all the way up. So in a saber grip, I actually am landing on the jimping. It's not overly rough. It is indexable, and it's done, you know, pretty close to the same. It's a little bit different. Let's see. I say it's close, but I mean, it feels close, but it really is not the same, as you can see here. So, but it feels really good. Matter of fact, yeah, I don't know which one I prefer more. They both feel pretty good. So the jimping is good to go. Some people like it. Some people do not like jimping on anything. I don't mind it if it's done really well. Matter of fact, you know, on some knives with very far, spaced apart jimping and whatnot, I still don't really mind that much, even though I would just prefer a jimping that's closer, tighter knit, you know, than something like this. So I was like really pleasantly surprised that the size worked for me, because this is a size that can be used as a primary knife. I carried this as a primary knife, and I also carried this as a secondary because it's not left my pocket since I came back from Blade Show. I was carrying other knives, but I always had this one on me in some sense. So I got a lot of use out of it. And here's the thing, guys, this is made in Taiwan. So I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that this is made in the same factory that the cold steel knives are. And the only reason I say that is because it has that same kind of quality, which is good, by the way. I have a lot of Taiwan cold steel knives. And then you have the material selections and whatnot that kind of make me think in Taiwan, right? So I don't care that it's made in Taiwan. The reason this thing is so genius is because the shark lock is so unique. And it's so much fun. Everybody wanted the AD20. All right, so some people couldn't, or some people didn't get the AD20 because of the price point. It's a $450 knife. And if you get the hand ground version, it's like $650. The titanium hand ground. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a more expensive knife made by an American maker in America, so it's just going to be that way. And then other people just couldn't find one. They wanted one, they couldn't find one, and it's still hard. This is a perfect way to get this design in people's hands at a price point that people can afford. This thing's $150. Now, you're not going to be able to find it if you're watching this video right off the bat because they don't have any in stock right now. However, if I was a betting man, I would bet, I think these will probably be out in the next month. This is June right now. I bet you they'll probably have some in stock by August. At least that's what I've heard. And keep them in stock. I believe that they should be able to just order the heck out of these because people are just going to buy them at $150 to experience this lock. I think it's going to happen. Okay. Another thing I think is going to happen, but I cannot confirm, is because this, it's an Austin A with Grivery. And I bet you that they will come out with different steel choices, different handle materials. Obviously, the price will vary. when it happens, but I bet you they will, because this is such a popular design, and with this lock just it just really makes it, because if I was to see another knife in AUS 10A steel and Grivery, I probably wouldn't look at it twice. I probably just wouldn't. The way I am in my collection and what I know that I like, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But the reason that I bought it is because of the shark lock. It's that good. It really, really is. And it feels the exact same on the AD20. The shark lock on the AD20 and the shark lock on the 20.5 feel and function the exact same way. Like there is no corners cut when it comes to the action of this knife versus the action on the American-made version. Now, I say that. Now, it's definitely a little bit different as far as the action because of the sheer proportions of this blade. As you can hear, it whacks out of there. Very tactile, very satisfying clicks. But this one is muted a little bit. Basically, I think it's because of the size. The G10 versus the Grivery may have something to do with it, but I'm really not sure. Now, this one, the AD20, it has, you know, the triad lock with the back spacers, barrel spacers here. Triad lock, the shark lock. And then this has like two scales that make a back spacer. I don't think this is actually a back spacer. I'm not taking it apart, but it does have full steel liners. So it's still, even though it's smaller and it's thinner, and it's quite a bit thinner too, we'll do that in a second, feels really robust. The triad lock is one of the most notorious strong locks ever, right? Also designed by Andrew Demko. I love the triad lock. I have the AD10, and the AD10 is one of my favorite bruiser knives. Very comfortable, strong. I know it's just going to do the job. And Andrew Demko himself says that this is just as strong, maybe even a little bit stronger. You know, he does a lot of testing. Now, I haven't seen it, haven't done it, don't really know. But I trust Andrew Demko just for that reason, because he's done so much testing on the triad lock, and you can go and see videos of that. And it's just, I mean, the knife, other portions of the knife will break before the triad lock breaks. And so that's why I really like it. Now, it's a backlock design, the triad lock, so it's nowhere near as fidgety as this guy with the shark lock. The action is not a detent, but it's a spring kind of action. Feels similar, better in my opinion, but similar to the spring action you get on a Benchmade access lock, where it's not really a detent. You're forcing it away from the spring. Of course, I did that. You're forcing it away from the spring, and when you let this go, the spring kind of sucks it in. So see how it sucks it? And once you get past right there, then it will. So you have to really get past the spring to deploy the knife because it's trying to suck it back in. I have noticed too that on the deployment, the whole middle finger flick works better on this than it does on the AD20. Now, I can do them both, but it feels like it whacks out of there a lot better with this smaller blade. And then, of course, the thumb action. You can do the reverse flick with the thumb studs. You can just whip it out with the triad lock. I mean, the amount of options that you have to open it also make it more fidgety for me. And I actually prefer this one than I did or more than I did the AD20 when it comes to that kind of action. Obviously, this is a much beefier, better steel, all that stuff. But I think it's genius. Now, the only things that I might... okay, let's get this out of the way. So, okay, AUS 10A Grivery handles at $150. Wouldn't look twice if it was any other knife. I think it's totally worth it for the AD 20.5 because it is... You can't get that lock anywhere else. And it's one of those locks that I think everybody has to experience because it's that good. Now, another thing that makes this locking mechanism so good is the fact that it is a totally ambidextrous knife. And unlike the AD20, it actually ships in a very nice box, in a very nice package, pouch with a, well, let's just go ahead and show you. Very nice packaging with this really cool pouch and patch. But it also ships with a cloth and a left-handed pocket clip. I think that's really a game changer because the shark lock is such an ambidextrous style lock. They include a lefty pocket clip. You don't have to pay extra. You had to pay like 20, 30 bucks extra to get it from here when you bought this knife. Lefties rejoice. Every lefty should be very happy about that because, yes, this is a 100% ambidextrous knife. You get the pocket clip with the packaging, so all you have to do is just switch it. Big win for Demko Knives. Now, I was able to talk a little bit with Demko's John and Andrew. They are such great people. Didn't get a lot of talking time because obviously at Blade Show he's just talking to everybody. Super nice guys. Everybody that was there in the booth were super nice. I didn't get sent any of these knives. I'm talking about just meeting the man. It's Blade Show. I get it, but you never hear anything bad about Andrew Demko. At least I don't. He's one hell of a guy, one hell of an American and a maker, and I do want to support him. Now, I totally understand why people would say $150 for Austin A, no. And Grivery, no. I get that. I really do. Because like I said, any other knife wouldn't do it. But because it has a shark lock, I totally think the price is okay for that. I mean, you're talking about PM2 money. It's not AUS 8. It's AUS, and it's not AUS 10. It's AUS 10A, which is the annealed AUS 10. And apparently, from what I can see, I'm not a steel expert, that it's a relatively decent steel. It's, matter of fact, Kevin talked to John Demko, and it was basically the best steel that they could get, that they could already get cut out to make the manufacturing process cheaper, to get the price point down to where it is. That makes sense. I get that. AUS 10A, from what I understand, looking at some charts, it's comparable to 154CM, which 154CM is an okay steel. So this is an okay steel. It doesn't do anything great. It just does most things okay. Now, it's not, it's basically the same behind the edge as the AD20, but another reason that I think that it was made by the same people that make the cold steel knives is because the edge that came on this thing, wicked sharp. Holy shit. Just like all of my other cold steels. Absolutely love this knife out of the box. It's just sticky sharp. And 25 thousandths behind the edge. This one is thinner than the AD20, so it does cut and slice amazingly. Even though it's 25 thousandths behind the edge, which is not exactly thin, but it's not thick either. It just slices. And I just, look at that. Just, it does amazingly with stuff like cardboard. How does it do with the paracord? No resistance. What about the tougher stuff, the twisted sisal rope? Blade geometry needs to be pretty good to get through this stuff, and I need to do my part, right? But let's see how it cuts through that. Better than most. It really, obviously there was resistance there, but it was a nice clean cut, and it didn't take much. Just bit right into it. So it's, and it's really the blade geometry and the way that they do the primary or the secondary bevel rather, where I believe it's just still, it's sharp as hell, but it's just a little bit toothy, which cuts things like that a lot better. So very happy, very satisfied with my purchase. And yeah, this is not going anywhere. Now I have seen people that have bought them at Blade Show, and they're trying to sell them for like $260 and stuff like that. Don't do that. If you want one of these knives, I'm telling you, wait till about August. I guarantee you there'll be more in stock, and they're going to be way more available than the AD20. So don't pay that stupid, ridiculous price for this knife. It's not worth that. It's worth $150 for sure, but it's not worth $260. So just be patient, wait, and when they drop, order them. Like I said, they had a ton of these there, so they're making them, and I'm sure that they're, they're getting that stockpile up because they know people are going to buy this knife, and I'm hoping that people out there see this review and like, yeah, Kyle likes it a lot. Not that my opinion makes a shit, but I really do. Even for a smaller knife, this is an absolutely amazing knife, and it all has to do with that shark lock. If you haven't experienced it, you need to. So let's go ahead. Let's turn the camera around. We're going to get a better size comparison between these two guys and then also against some other EDC staples, because this is a very EDC-able knife for all of its specs. And so, yeah, let's get a closer look and do that right now. All right, let's go ahead, get a closer look. All right, so here are the Grivery scales with that nice checkered pattern. That really feels good in the hand. It's not too aggressive, nowhere near like aggressive as something like the AD15 that I have, where it's like super aggressive. This provides a lot of grip, and with the ergonomics of this knife, the jimping, all of that, it is a very locked in knife that you are not going to have to worry if your hands are slick, I believe, of, a worry about getting it out of your hand, slipping out of your hand, nothing like that. It is nicely done for Grivery, even though I don't like Grivery, okay? Another thing that I really enjoy, and it's also the same on the AD20, is the Stonewash. Okay, so this knife is, to me, a EDC-able sized knife that is also a good companion as a work knife. It's very sturdy, obviously, with this shark lock. The tumbling that they do is a very heavy tumble, and I believe that is awesome for a knife that you are going to use because it's going to hide wear and scratches and whatnot. So I really dig the Stonewash finish on this. I just don't think that a satin would even do this, even though I like a good satin. I just think that the tumble fits the knife. Let's just put it that way. I think it fits the knife. Here is your Demko, and then on the other side, your Austin A and made in Taiwan. You have the Wampum, Pennsylvania, that side, and the Demko Knives. Now, a lot of people, I've heard some people say, why does it say the Wampum, Pennsylvania is made in Taiwan? But I get that, but Wampum, Pennsylvania is where Demko Knives are at. That's their facility, and it's his company. This is his knife. This is not like a cold steel knife or anything like that. This is his knife. It is made in Taiwan, though, so I don't mind that at all. Let you know that the company that is behind this knife is American. It has this really kind of funky thing for this AD20.5. Most everybody that I've talked to said they could have definitely done without that, but not a big deal. It doesn't really take away for me. Whoops. And then, of course, here's your pocket clip. It is pretty damn close to the pocket clip on the AD20. I mean, look at that. They could possibly switch up, you know what I'm saying? So very nice pocket clip. Does not sit deep carry. So a lot of you guys, I know a lot of people just don't like that. It sits deep enough for me and sticks out enough for me to I really like it because it makes it easy for me to grab the knife right here and pull it out. So that's the reason I don't usually like deep carry on some knives. And then some knives I do. So it's one of those things where if you just have to have deep carry, you don't get it with this. But I would imagine that people will make deep carry pocket clips. But I have to say that two of my friends, Jake from Bearded Gear and Lefty EDC, both got a deep carry pocket clip for this guy and didn't like it. So take that for what it's worth. You do have very disappointing T6 screws all the way around, except for I think that's a T8. Really, wish makers would not allow that to happen on these OEM knives overseas. I just don't like T6s. It's never really a deal breaker for me buying a knife, but I really wish that they would do that because I think that would do nothing to take away from the aesthetics of this knife. I think it would look better with beefier hardware. Your thumb studs are the exact same kind of pyramid style jimping or whatever you want to call that, the grooves that make for a excellent thumb flick experience and a reverse flick experience, and then with the hole, just very, very, very well done, and I love it. So let's go ahead and put it up against its big brother. A better look at the differences in these knives. So as you can see, so much more EDC-able for most folks. This is definitely an EDC knife for me, and I carried it, as such, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. But as you can see, definitely it's going to take up a lot less real estate in the pocket being this size than it would be for there. Another big factor is the thickness. You can see definitely a thinner knife, which makes it really a dream in the pocket. So the overall length of the AD20 is 8 and 5/8 inches, and the overall length of this guy, the 20.5, is 7.5. So you've got, you know, a difference there. One of the bigger differences is the handle thickness. The handle thickness on the AD20 is about 0.574, so pretty thick. I liked it, but this guy is only about 390 thousandths. Very, very thin, which makes it just makes for a dream in the pocket. I really didn't feel this thing was there, and that is also coupled with the weight. It's only 3.55 ounces, where this guy is about 6.1. Yes, you get a blade length of this guy of about 3 1/8, and you weigh about 3.55. It's not hitting that ounce and inch mark, what I really don't care about, but you should not have any problems with the weight versus the size on this guy. Of course, your you have 3.5 inches here, blade length, you have 3 1/8 here, and blade thickness is about 125 here, and you've got about 180 here. So it really is not like they shrunk it, but they shrunk it and just kind of just miniaturized it, and I think they did it just right. They could have gone a little smaller, they could have gone a little bigger. I think they did it just right for most people. Like I said, in my big wide hands, my pinky does land right there on that, but it's really rounded off, and it doesn't cause a problem for me. The chipping is still amazing. So yeah, there is your differences between these two guys. They are absolutely 100% recommendable, both of these. If you have the money to spend on this and you can find one, do it. Trust me, do it. And then waiting for this to come out, you just have to have one in your collection. Let's go ahead and put it up against some of the other regular staples as far as EDC knives. Here it is against the PM2. So it's smaller than the PM2, and it is more so on the PM3 side as far as now I definitely like the ergonomics on the AD20 and the 0.5 than I do the ergonomics on the the Para 3. I can't say, man, I don't know. The ergonomics on the PM2 are so good, and that's why I still have those in my collection. But you have a finger choil here where you can choke up on the knife, and then of course my pinky is well off of this, which I did find I was using a lot. So just the ergonomics of this knife coupled with the tall jimping, it's just really, really good. Now you may have noticed this, the shark lock here, it sticks up. I thought when I got the AD20 that would be a problem, like it would poke me. It really, really does not. I never had an instance where I brought the lock back and came down like this, because you don't just have to pull back. You have to pull back and up to really get that out of the way. I never had that issue. If that is a concern of yours, it's probably still a warranted one, but just so you know, it never happened to me. And so I think it's 100% good to go as far as that is concerned, if that was one of yours. Another knife that I got at Blade Show, we're going to do a size comparison on and do a full review here coming soon, is the Leon Mall Field Duty EDC. Still a smaller knife than this guy, but very comparable in its EDC. It's, blade length just a tad bit smaller. But if you had the shark's foot, it was actually a little bit smaller than this. The blade length is smaller on the shark's foot. So very nice EDC knife. I think a lot of people are just going to absolutely go bonkers over this. I know I have, and I did not expect to as much as I did. It is a excellent, excellent knife, and wait till August. If you're watching this in the future and that's already passed, just go check out retailers. It is definitely worth it. I am absolutely waiting on them. I'm pretty sure this is going to happen for them to come out with different blade steels and different handles for this knife, still made overseas, that I think are just going to be a big win. And, if that happens, I will more than likely pick that up if I can get, I'm not sure what blade steels they'll go with. I really don't, but anything can be better than this. I mean, they didn't go like D2 or 9CR or AUS 8. They went AUS 10A, and I know a lot of people just griped about it, but it really is a decent steel. It's just not a super steel, right? So anyways, guys, I blabbed on enough. This is an excellent knife. I really, really appreciate Andrew and John Demko for what they're doing with their company. I think they're killing it, and I want them to continue to succeed. Definitely go check them out on Instagram. Both great guys. They will answer questions and all that stuff. And yeah, if you have any questions for me, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to answer any that I can. I am one stupid guy, but I like knives, and I like to show you guys my knives, so that's the reason we're here. Guys, stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.